Trapped in a dead-end job after a harrowing battle with cancer, Han Ju-wei yearns for a life fueled by fantastical power. Little does he know, his final act of escaping into a cultivation game grants him a second chance. Reborn in the mystical land of Wuxia, he finds himself serving a grumpy alchemy master. While his parents shockingly abandon him, Han Ju-wei possesses a unique blue panel, a daily dice roll that dictates his destiny. Yet, for 11 long years, the dice taunt him with trash attributes. A glimmer of fortune finally shines on Han Ju-wei, revealing a path to unimaginable power. Now, hidden within the servant ranks, this unlikely hero prepares to rewrite his fate, each roll a step towards his destiny. An 11-year-old boy possesses a blue-colored game panel, which shows him his stats. This is not an ordinary panel. It is a dice-rolling system that lets him roll a dice every day. He has been continuously rolling this dice each day for 11 years straight. But each time he rolls the dice, his attributes come out to be total trash. His name is Han Ju-wei, and he, like any other typical isekai MC, has been reincarnated from the magicless planet Earth. There he was suffering from end-stage cancer, already sick and bald from going through chemotherapy over and over again. All he could do was wait for the angel of death. To ease his never-ending pain, he opened up an old cultivation-themed game which he loved a lot, not knowing that playing this would be the last thing he would do on Earth. Suddenly he opened his eyes, just to find himself reborn as a child of some servants, in a cultivation sect world known as Wuxia. His parents served an alchemy master known as Elder Iron. Their work was mostly to plant medical herbs for him. These herbs, though beneficial to cultivators, were deadly poisonous to ordinary people. Elder Iron was a cruel guy who did not allow his servants to cultivate. Han Ju-wei's parents turned out to be pretty selfish, as they ran away, leaving their son behind at the age of 6. Luckily for Han Ju-wei, Elder Iron did not get mad and allowed him to do their job instead, which he continued for 5 years. Having his old memories, Han Ju-wei knew that being reincarnated with a blue panel system would be a dream of many. But having a system that allows you to only roll a dice once daily to decide for destiny is a total pain. Han Ju-wei has tolerated this nuisance for 11 years, but what else is he supposed to do? Even if he reaches 30 years of age, he will continue to roll the dice, dreaming of getting some good luck. He swore to himself that he would not start cultivating unless he rolled out an exceptional attribute. It is morning already. He wakes up and continues with his morning routine. After finishing his exercise, it is again time to roll the dice. He taps on the dice, and again the same bad luck. He again gets the forever trash cultivation potential. He vomits out a mouthful of blood, and with a sense of resignation, he begins to shake himself for his stupid destiny. With tears in his eyes, he hopes for some divine intervention when suddenly a light sparkles. Beyond all of his expectations, he shook out something good this time. A super great innate destiny with not only 1, but 4 top-notch attributes. He gets an unparalleled charm skill, an aptitude for hyper swordsmanship and lightning speed, along with some legendary grade spirit stones. Stunned silence, followed by a surge of exhilarating disbelief. He was hoping for something good, but getting something this good was just out of his expectations. Han Ju-wei thumped his fist on the ground, a wave of happiness washing over him for the first time in years. Now all he needs to do is to roll out a supreme cultivating potential. With these supreme level skills in his arsenal, even starting at 40 wouldn't be a setback. The scene shifts, and Han Ju-wei stands atop a windswept peak, boasting that soon this whole world will tremble before him. The supreme cultivator. Getting a second chance in life, he swears to give it his all this time. He decides to leave his life as a servant, thinking that who would want to dust floors when one is destined for such greatness? The tranquility on the heights shatters as a booming voice cuts through the air, summoning the servants to greet the 2 new cultivators who have come to visit their sect. All the servants follow the command and gather up to a place. Han Ju-wei watches with a hint of disdain as the servants fawn over these newcomers, showering them with praise for their appearance and expressing a strange lament for their own lives. Amusing himself at the thought of how soon their fawning will turn to abject reverence, Han Ju-wei remains unmoved. One of the cultivators declared that from now on, those 2 will be responsible for protecting the medical herb garden that belonged to Elder Iron. Han Ju-wei is astonished. He wants to know what's happened to Elder Iron. Is the old geezer done for already, or has he gone on a tropical vacation with a pina colada in hand? The 2 cultivators explain the reason for the absence of Elder Iron. They say that some devilish cultivators have invaded the Jade Pure sect. For this reason, Elder Iron had to leave the garden. to sort out the issues. Han Juwei takes a sigh of relief as he still needs the Elder's protection before he can roll his supreme cultivation potential. He realizes that the cultivation world is a cold place, and he needs some support and luck to start cultivating in means while protecting himself. Frustration gnawed at Han Juwei. Another day, another roll of the dice, and another bad luck. With so many cool skills, why couldn't he just roll out one for cultivation? He kept on trying. 2 days bowled into a year, then another. 2 whole years of relentless attempts, and still nothing. His patience expired faster than a carton of milk left out in the sun. Looks like 40 years is definitely off the chart. He thinks that he should start with just some stupid middle-grade cultivation potential, but then wouldn't it be a waste? He wants to cultivate top-notch cultivation, so that he might live long instead of dying at such a young age like last time. Suddenly, he hears the announcement that the Elder Iron has returned, and everyone has been summoned to greet him. Elder Iron appreciates them for working so hard while he was away sorting out issues. All the servants start praising the old guy, saying that it is our honor to relieve our master of his worries. Han Juwei, on the other hand, was looking totally unimpressed, thinking of those servants as bootlickers. No matter how hard you work, that old guy isn't going to give you any real benefits for all those praises. Unexpectedly, Han Juwei, along with 4 others, was summoned to meet the old man in person. Everyone was bursting with thoughts of why the little kids summoned. Maybe Elder Iron wanted to give them charge of a specific area of the garden. Elder Iron asked all the 4 to hold out their hands. He wanted to examine their cultivation potential. Han Juwei got nervous. As to his knowledge, the old man had banned the servants from cultivating. Maybe Elder Iron had some change of heart. Han Juwei quickly notices some blood on the old man's clothes. The old man is injured. It looks to Han Juwei that the old man wants to throw them as pills in the furnace to heal his injury. Being afraid, Han Juwei reluctantly showed his hand. Elder Iron doesn't find any cultivation potential and goes to the next boy. Lucky for Han Juwei, he still haven't started cultivation yet, otherwise he would have been done for. The old man finds some potential in the other boy named Manga and proposes to him to be his disciple. Obviously, Manga couldn't have rejected such an astonishing offer. Everyone, including Han Juwei, got mad thinking that the boy wouldn't be like them anymore. Measly, useless servants. Han Juwei is afraid that once Zhang leaves, he will never be able to return. He thinks that now he quickly needs to roll up an aptitude for cultivation. Another 3 years pass by with no luck at his disposal. Suddenly one day, Han Juwei bursts in joy and rolls down on the wooden ground. He finally rolled out a cultivation potential, and it wasn't just an ordinary one. It was a spiritual physique of the 6 paths, a top-notch aptitude. All his hardships have finally paid off. Turns out the grapes weren't sour after all. Now, all there is left for him is to start cultivation, to make his dream come true. But wait, what about that old geezer? Han Juwei knows that he never got to see Zhang again, who probably would have died, and Han Juwei doesn't want to suffer the same fate. Suddenly, Han Juwei notices a red panel alongside the blue one. To his luck, it was written that Han Juwei could create a barrier around a small place, and the cultivators outside wouldn't be able to see any changes within the barrier. Talk about perfect timing. From here on out, Han Juwei can officially start his cultivation path. He starts the cultivation system after making the barrier, and a blue light starts to shine all over him. The next moment, he appeared in the system space. What is this happening all over him? Has he gotten a second awakening, like Jinwoo in solo leveling? The system informs him that he was born in a cultivation world where he was exceptionally beautiful. He was abandoned by his parents at the age of 6. It seemed like he had a destiny for something that had remained hidden. Everyone knows all of their life story. Tell the guy something he doesn't know. Another notification pops up, and the system asks Han Juwei to choose his cultivation path. The system gives him several options. Han Juwei thinks that the 6 realms of reincarnation must involve cultivating all 6 types of spiritual roots together. Therefore, he immediately decided to choose Sword Cultivator as his main cultivation path. The cultivation began, and Han Juwei got absorbed in the surrounding spiritual energy. He feels relaxed to finally have felt the sensation of cultivation. His temperature rose to a pleasurable extent, and his body got filled with energy. Han Juwei knew that there was no turning back once he initiated cultivation. His progress was undeniable, but a new discovery shattered his tranquility. He noticed an unexpected addition, a relationship panel. To his horror, it displayed animosity between him and the old man. Ungrateful wretch. Han Jue fumes silently. After all he has done for him, he still holds a grudge. Han Jue does not get what he has done to deserve this level of enmity. Maybe it is because his parents fled away, but at least Elder Iron hasn't caused any trouble to him. Thanks to him being always absent, Han Jue has been able to do his cultivation in peace. Han Jue decides that once he reaches the 9th stage of cultivation, he will leave his gardens once and for all. By then, the old geezer wouldn't be able to do anything. He finds himself surrounded by chi energy. Out of the 6 elements, fire and thunder seem to be absent in the medical herb garden. He honed his focus on the 4 elements he could sense: wind, earth, wood, and water. Fire and thunder would have to wait. Suddenly, another system notification pops up, offering a tempting choice: a powerful tool for the energy cultivation realm, or the ability to conceal his cultivation level and spiritual attributes. Grinning at the system's usefulness, Han Jue didn't hesitate. He knew exactly what he needed: the ability to conceal his cultivation level. Without giving it a second thought, he chooses the second option. 2 years zip by, he learned to use chi energy to quickly grow medical herbs. Han Jue's progress was impressive. All 4 of his spiritual energies had reached the 7th level of the energy cultivation realm. However, caution clouded his triumph. Darting glances around, Han Jue ensured no prying eyes witnessed his newfound abilities. He could not let anyone know about his new powers just yet. He passes by fellow servants as they greet him, asking him about the harvest. Ladies have all over butterflies for him. He doesn't only know how to grow fine medical herbs, but also has the astonishing looks of a fine young man. They long to marry him one day. Han Jue wonders why the system didn't hide his charm attribute, along with his cultivation potential. Being handsome too has risks when one wants to keep a low profile. Well, he should start hiding his face with a bird mask like in Shangri-La Frontier, but that too will raise suspicions, won't it? Just as he settled back into his peaceful routine, a wrench was thrown into his plans. He was just about to return to his cultivation, when suddenly he was approached by Xinghong Xuan, an intersect disciple, one of the 2 cultivators who came to look after their garden in the absence of the old geezer. She starts with a request to follow her to a secluded part of the forest where she wants to discuss something with him in person. Normally, she never would interact with a servant, but why this today? Suspecting something is not normal, Han Jue checks their relationship status. He was confused to find that Xinghong Xuan had 2 goodwill stars towards him. How was that possible when he never got a chance to interact with her? Han Jue's heart races. Did she see through his disguise somehow? Could it be his immortal, top-tier beauty giving him away? A shiver shoots down his spine. Is he stuck being her toy puppet forever? His frantic thoughts are cut short by her question. Does he really want to serve the old geezer for the rest of his life? He replies that obviously not. What goodwill comes from serving someone who doesn't even appreciate him? Seeing his eagerness, she throws him a proposition and asks for a favor. She asks him to help her steal Elder Iron's alchemy recipe. In return, she will guide his cultivation and even whisk him away from the Jade Pure sect to join the demon cult. With a sly smile, she directs him to think about it. She even says that she will consider taking him as his cultivation partner if he shows her promise. Han Jue stands there, petrified. Her words turn him to stone. She belongs to the demon cult. He screams in his head. Despair gripped Han Jue. Offending the Jade Pure sect meant becoming a hunted fugitive. Yet, refusing this wish could lead to an even swifter demise. Han Jue sorts out the options he has. Screaming for help wouldn't work. They were far too deep in the forest. Though their cultivation levels were similar, Han Jue had no combat skills or weapons with him. At this point, a direct confrontation was simply out of the question. In an attempt to make excuses, he stammers that he has not a single clue about where the recipe is, and there is always the other disciple that came along with him. She can try talking to him. Xinghong Xuan, unfazed, presses on that the recipe is within the residence of Elder Iron, and he does not need to worry about the guards, as she will handle distracting them, while he just has to retrieve it. As a greeting gift, she offers him a black pill, which according to her will help him unlock his cultivation potential. Before he could protest, she shoved the pill into Han Jue's mouth, forcing him to swallow it. Upon returning, Han Jue activates the system and asks it to get rid of the drug. The system kicks in, and he vomits out the pill. He yearns to take revenge. He realizes how bad the fiendish cult is, and even if he helps her, it will not benefit him in any way. Just as he was thinking what to do, a notification popped up. Talk about timing. The system gives him two options. He can either follow Xing Hong Xuan's orders, steal the recipe and win her favor, or betray Xing Hong Xuan, and once she leaves, potentially learn the coveted Supreme Finger Divine Sword technique. Of course, he would choose the second option, show the witch her place, and get a new top-tier skill. Han Juwei does not hesitate an inch, and chooses the second path without giving it a second thought. That night, as Han Juwei begins his meditation in his room, someone knocks at his window. It is Xing Hong Xuan. In an urgent tone, she whispers that she has found the location of the recipe, which happens to be in the study. She directs him that while she distracts the guards from the Elder Iron's garden, Han Juwei will go and fetch the recipe. Han Juwei pretends to play along with her plan. As Han Juwei is on his way to the study, he finds out that the Xing has brutally murdered the cultivator who came along with her. He gives prayer to the departed soul, although he never got a chance to know his name. Xing Hong Xuan has already lured out the guards. Just how fast can one be? Han Juwei quickly rushes to catch up to her. He finds himself in the library, eerily quiet, except for his own rugged breaths. In an attempt to put up an act, he rushes here and there. He gets super annoyed and mutters that the place is a labyrinth. Why doesn't she just grab the recipe herself? In reality, it would have been much easier for her to just sneak and get the recipe, instead of causing so much commotion. She must be a psycho. Otherwise, it makes no sense. Han Juwei gets his hand on a pen that Elder Iron uses. He's frustrated seeing that even the old Jeezer's pen is gold-plated, whereas, on the other hand, he's living off the rubbish. A cold voice cut through his tirade. Xing Hong Xuan snuck up on him, jumping from a window, and inquired what he was muttering about and whether he had found the recipe yet. She suspects his laziness and scolds him for slacking off all this time. The tension was thick enough to choke on. Han Juwei, in a desperate attempt to make up a story, stumbled backwards, knocking over a cabinet. The vase crashes to the floor, its contents scattering. And there, amidst the debris, lay a scroll. Both Han Juwei and Xing Hong Xuan stared at it, a bewildered silence hanging heavy in the air. It was the recipe they were looking all over for. Since when did he start hiding things from her? She inquires. Han Juwei thinks that he has messed up. Once the lady gets her hands on the scroll, she is going to kill him for good. But against his expectations, Xing, overjoyed with happiness, says that she never expected Han Juwei to know how to be romantic. Han Juwei fears that now Xing has the scroll, he has failed the mission the system gave him, and will no longer get the new skill. Realizing her to be exhausted from all the luring away, he thinks to make a surprise attack. Just as Han Juwei is going to make a move, both of them are knocked back. Wait, it's the old Jeezer. He is back already. Xing murmurs in an angry tone. Elder Iron says that he was here all this time and was waiting for them to make their move. He explains that not even a single disciple was ready to take on his mission, and when she and the other cultivator accepted his mission, he suspected something to be fishy about it. Xing is now right where the Elder wanted. She has used up a ton of her energy, and in her current situation, there was no way she would stand any chance of defeating him and getting away with the scroll. Analyzing her chances of snatching the scroll, she finds it in her best interest to escape for the time being. She jumps out of the window, leaving Han Juwei behind. Luck has finally favored Han Juwei. So much for rolling the dice over and over again for 16 years to get a high-tier cultivation skill. Before Elder can say a word, Han Juwei tells him how hard it was to hold off that witch in his absence. Elder is confused, saying that he thought both of them were allies, and asks him about the details. Han Juwei goes on and tells him all that happened. Elder mocks Han Juwei for actually believing that the witch would make him her husband. With all this, Han Juwei has successfully fooled everyone into believing that he is totally innocent. The old Jeezer asks him to go back to sleep, and Han Juwei rushes out. Since Han Juwei did not help the witch escape with the scroll, he was awarded the Finger Divine Sword technique from the system. Another 2 years swiftly passed by without any fuzz. Han Juwei finds out that the skill he learned, though called a sword technique, was a mere spell convenient enough to help him chop wood. Han Juwei thinks of finally leaving the herb garden, as it has nothing more to offer him. In the past 2 years, Han Juwei has finally been able to reach the 9th level of energy refinement by cultivating the 4 spirits. Now only 2 spiritual roots were left, and once he refined them, he would be able to break through the establishment realm. Fire and thunder energy are absent in the vicinity of the herb's garden. and therefore Han Juwei has to look for these someplace else. He thinks that he is finally ready to sneak out of the garden, even if the old geezer is there blocking his way. But to his luck, the old man is again out in search of herbs to increase his lifespan. Han Juwei bluffs that not everyone like him can reach the 9th level of cultivation potential. For instance, look at the geezer, he could only reach the 7th level. Environment matters a lot when it comes to becoming stronger and increasing your lifespan. With this, Han Juwei is ready to bid farewell to the place he has been living for 20 years. He remembers that the Elder Iron's garden is linked with the Jade Pure sect. He could easily use this to his advantage unless his road accidentally collides with the old man. The guards put their hands on their swords and ask him for his identity. Han Juwei tells them that he is a rogue cultivator at the 9th level of the Qi refinement realm and wants to join the Jade Pure sect. Hearing that he is in the 9th level of Qi refinement, the guards get shocked and rush to convey the message. Yang Luo approaches from behind the guards, saying that if he has yet to hear, Han Juwei wants to join their sect as someone who has mastered the 9th level. Yang Luo happens to be the warden of the Jade Pure sect and asks to do a quick check on Han Juwei. He explains that these days, a lot of fiendish cultivators are trying to infiltrate their sect. He asks Han Juwei to show him his energy. Han Juwei displays his abilities by targeting the mountainside. Yang is amused by the magic Han Juwei shows. He carefully analyzes his move, and by its purity, he is now certain Han Juwei does not belong to the fiendish cult. He asks Han Juwei to follow him for registration and welcomes him to the outer sect of Jade Pure sect. Han Juwei, after thanking him, continues with his questions. He asks at present how many disciples are there in the outer sect and also inquires about the terms and conditions of entering the inner sect. Yang tells him that there are over 2,000 disciples in the outer sect, and to enter the inner sect, Han Juwei would need to reach the foundation establishment. He further elaborates that every 3 years, the sect organizes a challenge. The top 3 competitors receive a foundation establishment pill, allowing them to join the inner sect. Han Juwei, out of curiosity, asks about the number of disciples in the inner sect. Yang replies that he is not sure, but this much is certain, that the inner sect is located in a very small world, and the disciples of the outer sect have no idea about what is happening inside. Han Juwei is excited to know so much about the Jade Pure sect. Han Juwei gets straight to business. He asks if there is a place in the Jade Pure sect where he can cultivate thunder and fire spiritual qi. Yang replies that there is none in the outer sect, but there definitely should be places in the inner sect. From the looks on his face, having the thunder spiritual qi seems to be about as exciting as winning a lottery ticket. Yang explains to Han Juwei that those having lightning cultivation potential can get some exceptions and special treatment from the Elder Hall, since there are not many who could use this spiritual qi. Han Juwei musters up his inner lightning and requests Yang to nominate him to the Elder Hall, saying that he will be forever indebted to him for this kind favor. Yang assures him to talk on his behalf. He takes Han Juwei to the Elder Hall and explains everything to an old man there. As Yang and the old man are busy in their chit-chat, Han Juwei attempts to use the system to know which cultivation realm he falls in, but fails. It could be possible that the old man is not a cultivator. The old man directs Han Juwei to some sort of spiritual qi assessment. Han Juwei gets nervous as he does not want anyone to find out his 6 spiritual energy potential. He quickly comes up with an idea to suppress some of his qi potential. Yang asks Han Juwei to show his lightning to the old man. Han Juwei puts up a display of all 3 fire, thunder, and wind cultivation potentials while suppressing the rest. They are surprised that he has not 1, but potential for 3 of the qi. They stuff him up with some basic welcome package and ask him to get rest until the Great Elder arrives. Han Juwei gets annoyed, as he had no clue that showing up even 3 potentials could drag in a great deal of attention. Peaceful cultivation with a low profile? Yeah, right. Now watch a billboard with his face appear on every mountain peak. Han Juwei likes his accommodation, as he can sense fire spiritual qi there. He decides to cultivate it to the 9th level of cultivation potential. Before the Great Elder returns, he sits down and begins his cultivation. For ordinary people, cultivating a single type of spirit root is more than sufficient, as they are limited beyond it. But for someone like Han Juwei, it is very easy to cultivate all 6. It is all thanks to his supreme cultivation potential that he never feels any fatigue from the activity. Every time Han Juwei feels stronger, it is likely that his lifespan too has increased. This was the motivation that Han Juwei had for rolling the dice for so many years. He longed for immortality. Hey, why don't you just move an inch and check it from the system? It shows a lifespan bar too. You know. Han Juwei did not care for his body and stayed up all night every day, resultantly his life being cut short. It is highly unlikely that you will get a third chance of life, so if he wants to live a long life with no care about fame or girls. Yang comes to inform Han Juwei about the return of the Great Elder after half a year, just to learn that he has been cultivating all this time. Meanwhile, Han Juwei has no track of how much time he has spent there. Han Juwei wastes no time and goes to greet the Elder. The old man there is amused to see how much Han Juwei has improved in just 6 months. The chubby Elder praises Han Juwei's temperament and informs him of a way to get into the inner sect directly. He tells him that if any of the 18 coaching elders find interest in his capabilities, he can instantly become an inner sect disciple. The other way would be to participate and compete for the top 3 ranks in the outer sect competition. The Elder takes Han Juwei on a tour of the inner sect on his sack-like flying bottle. We have seen carpets flying, but now this stupid sack bottle must perfectly suit the ugly old man. On their way, the Elder explains to Han Juwei that each of the 18 coaching elders has his own personality. Where some prefer standing out, others like to maintain a low profile. Just what else would drive the attention of Han Juwei? He quickly shows his interest in training under a low-profile cultivator. Judging from Han Juwei's intentions, Elder suggests he join Jade Serene Park, as it might be a perfect place for him. Out of all Han Juwei's expectations, the inner sect turns out to be very humongous. There are people flying on swords. Before Han Juwei can pass on any comments, the Elder says that very soon, he will be able to learn to fly like them. The Elder shows him all over the place. He inquires Han Juwei about murmuring something about a wuxia drama, to which Han Juwei gives no serious response. He continues that even though Han Juwei is at the 9th level, he would not survive a fall from this height, so he would be more careful. They finally reach their destination, the Jade Serene Peak, and it seems deserted. It turns out that the Serene Peak has the least amount of disciples. There's not any serious reason. It's just that the master of the Serene Peak, Fairy Shi Xuan, likes to cultivate in seclusion. Moreover, she does not allow her disciples to develop feelings for one another, keeping the environment pure of all evil thoughts. While the chubby Elder is trying to show Han Juwei the demerits of the place, Han Juwei takes all of these as merits. He gave a freaking laugh and states that he and the Seclusion Peak are made for one another, totally in sync. The chubby Elder introduces him to Fairy Shi Xuan, telling her about the potential he possesses. He explains to her that the reason he brought Han Juwei here is because he prefers to keep a low profile. Fairy Shi asks Han Juwei directly whether he wishes to join her peak and merely focus on cultivation. Chang Yuwei, standing beside them, is very excited to finally see a fine young man join their sect, and here Han Juwei was thinking that having feelings was forbidden in the Serene Peak. The girl seems to have a 2-star liking, which falls to 1 star immediately, as Han Juwei replies to Fairy Shi that he would enter seclusion for even 100 years, unless there are any instructions for him to follow. In order to access Han Juwei's strength, Fairy Shi asks him to attack her with all his might. Following her direction, he blasts a full-fledged blast toward her, which she knocks off easily. Chang is impressed seeing his raw talent, and Fairy Shi's favorability grows to 1 star towards him. Fairy Shi inquires Han Juwei if this is the only technique he knows and lets him stay at the Jade Serene Peak. The old sack bids Han Juwei farewell and goes away, saying that he has high hopes for him. Fairy Shi gives him a death stare, and he has no clue why. Chan hints to him that he has forgotten to acknowledge her as his master. He immediately pays his respect, giving prayer to the master to live long. Fairy Shi blushes, thinking of herself as an empress, and asks Chang to take her junior brother and arrange a cave for him. Chang takes him away and assures her of himself as a helping hand. She swears to herself to never let Han Juwei get bullied, as she finally finds a handsome, fine young man after eagerly waiting and working hard for a whole 5 years. Judging from her romantic interests, Han Juwei suspects all female disciples to be absolutely like her, yearning for a little love. Apparently, spiritual enlightenment doesn't come with a side of emotional fulfillment. Who knew? She shows him his place, which she has kept right beside hers. Finally, after struggling for so many years, Han Juwei has found a place to call his own. As he tries to get comfortable, he remembers that her master has reached the 3rd level of the nascent soul realm, which is far beyond his reach. He sure has a long way to go. He further recalls the chubby elder, telling him about the huge gap difference between the inner and outer sex, when he himself was one step away from the golden core, and was only able to become an elder for the outer sect. Above 7 levels of the chi refinement lies the foundation establishment, above which is the golden core. Once one has reached the extent of the golden core, one can achieve the nascent soul, and there are not many who have been able to exceed this limit. Only the founder of the Jade Pure sect is known to surpass this level, and he himself has not returned for several years. Judging from all this, Fairy Shi would be the strongest cultivator Han Juwei has met so far. He is happy to know that he now has such a huge power backing him. Being stronger would be a task for another day. First, he must learn how to stay alive in all this mess. After thinking all this, he gets back to his cultivation. The system notification pops up again, giving him 2 options. He can choose to lead the Serene Peak into becoming the strongest one, or just keep a low profile and get Fairy Shi recognition. He gets confused as to why would Fairy Shi be offended if he goes along with the first option, and to stay in her good books, decides to go with the second option. 3 years pass by, and now Han Juwei realizes that he needs to learn the flying sword technique, as he cannot depend on Chang, again and again, to navigate around the inner gate. With just a glimpse of the technique, he masters it in no time. He finds his master along the way and greets her, saying that he has something to discuss with her. Fairy Shi is amazed that he really went into seclusion for the whole 3 years. He wishes to know the location of a place where he can cultivate his thunder potential, as he already has mastered the other 2 to 7 stages of chi refinement. She inquires if he wants to cultivate all 3 potentials in the Foundation realm. Actually, he has been hiding it from everyone otherwise. He wants to cultivate all the 6 potentials to the next realm. She denies his requests, saying that he cannot. He politely asks for the reason why he cannot. She explains to him that even cultivating a single attribute is already extremely difficult, and the amount of time he has to spend doing so. He does find some spirit in his master's words, but he has decided his fate already. He practically begs her that this disciple of hers wishes to spend all his time cultivating, eyes wide like a puppy denying a treat. Upon his insistence, she tells him that he can use the intersex teleportation formation that would lead him to the Thunder Spiritual Pool. He thanks his master and departs from there at once. He reaches the place and is astonished by its size. The Thunder Spiritual Pool was ginormous, like a bathtub for a celestial giant. He was expecting it to be the size of a fish pond, but the pool turned out to be ginormous. Han Juwei senses the richness of the pool. He thinks that by cultivating in the center of the pool, his Thunder Spiritual Chi will soon reach the 9th level. He has not been able to cultivate any other element this fast. There was only a single person cultivating in the Thunder Pool. Seeing only a single guy in such a big place makes Han Juwei realize why Yang Liu and the others got excited seeing his Thunder Chi potential. It really was a big deal to be able to possess Thunder Chi, big enough for him to directly enter the inner sect, bypassing the outer realm. Han Juwei encounters a tree spirit who tries to tell Han Juwei that it is unsafe to cultivate in the center, and that Han Juwei must only cultivate by the corner. It threatens Han Juwei to abide by the rules, otherwise, death would be his ultimate fate. The man in the corner whom Han Juwei saw earlier politely interferes. At least he knows how to talk sweetly, instead of the tree spirit who scared the crap out of Han Juwei. Jade Pure sects seemingly have invested a lot to have a tree spirit, since the tree spirit is actually a catalyzing treasure for cultivation, which doubles the efficiency of anyone who cultivates near it. Han Juwei is relieved as he thinks that he has found the perfect place, though he regrets not having a treasure like the tree spirit before. He would have reached the same level years ago by having it. He cheers up loudly, declaring his aim to reach the 9th level in a year. The person by the corner is shocked by Han Juwei's words, thinking that he must be all talk, because reaching the 9th level is not a child's play. He highly doubts that Han Juwei would be able to achieve it. A year passes by, and Han Juwei has finally cultivated all the chi to the max level, showing the gray-haired guy that he has underestimated him a great deal. It is now time for Han Juwei to evolve his potential to the Foundation Establishment level. Han Juwei remembers the concern of his master. Fairy Shi Xuan worried that the heavenly tribulation might be too strong for Han Juwei to bear if he cultivated so many attributes, but what she did not know was that the method he used had its own way of working. To evolve to the Foundation Establishment, Han Juwei uses Thunder Tribulation. The tree spirit shows its concern and asks the gray-haired guy to leave. as it thinks there is no way Han Juwei can be saved now. The Thunder Tribulation is doubled folded in the Thunder Spiritual Pool. The Tree Spirit and the gray-haired guy break into a sweat as Han Juwei undergoes Thunder Tribulation. Above all their expectation, Han Juwei seems to enjoy the process, saying that he will turn the tribulation into fuel for his foundation establishment. His method to avoid heavenly tribulation is a very unique one. He absorbs the thunder energy and converts it into the finest spiritual energy, which can be used to improve his cultivation. Everyone's shocked. Han Juwei rocked. With this, Han Juwei has succeeded in advancing to the foundation establishment. 2 years flew by faster than a free pizza delivery. Wait, they don't have pizza delivery here, do they? He finally goes out of the pool and pays the toll for using the Thunder Spiritual Pool for 3 years. The toll was 100 superior grade spirit stones. Han Juwei looks at the system panel and is surprised that he has not only reached the 3rd level of foundation establishment, but also increased his lifespan to 187 years. Before he can celebrate, the system notification pops up, again with 2 options. The first was to become famous and obtain the 9 Nether Thunder Art. The second option was to cultivate while keeping a low profile, and once he had advanced the Golden Core, he would receive a magical sword of the highest tier. Though the first option was tempting enough, it irritates Han Juwei, because accepting it would mean offending his master. But he does not want to be in the bad book of his master, so he goes along with the second option. The gray-haired guy comes up to Han Juwei, praising his talent and introduces himself. He says that his name is Mo Fu Cho, and he is a disciple of the Heavenly Thunder Peak. Han Juwei thanks him and returns the favor by introducing himself. Mo Fu Cho inquires Han Juwei why he is the disciple of the Jade Serene Peak. He says to him that he is wasting his talents and invites him over to the Heavenly Thunder Peak. Han Juwei gently refuses, saying that he has acknowledged Fairy Shi Xuan as his master for life and will not betray her at any cost. Mo Fu Cho tells him that his offer will always stand still if by any chance Han Juwei has a change of heart and reconsiders joining the Thunder Peak. The scene shifts towards the mountain site. Xing Hong Xuan takes a sigh of relief as she has finally been able to escape the fiendish cult. It seems as if all this time she was forced to work for the cult. She has no place to return to and is worried that soon her identity will be revealed to everyone. That day, when Han Juwei tried to make a surprise attack on her, but failed because of intrusion by the old geezer, she misunderstood that Han Juwei had stood up for her. For the first time in her life, she feels that she is important to someone and still thinks that Han Juwei will believe her. She thinks Han Juwei is her prince. As she is daydreaming, a crow spots her in the bush and starts shouting that it has found a red-haired woman in the bush. She immediately jumps away and the chase continues. Meanwhile, Han Juwei gets the notification that the Jade Pure Sect is hunting his good friend Xing Hong Xuan and is severely injured, but she somehow manages to outrun them this time. Han Juwei blinks. Good friend? Maybe the system needs a firmware update. There's no way that Grumpy Cauldron Stirrer was his best friend forever. It further informs him that she has betrayed the Viridescent Nether cult and is now hunted by them as well. Moreover, her goodwill to Han Juwei has now reached 4 stars. It seems like she has fallen, head over heels in love with Han Juwei. Han Juwei gets frustrated, as he had hoped to never see her name again. He thinks of her again as a psycho. Otherwise, why would her affection for him increase, when she has not even seen her face for such a long time? The last time they met, Han Juwei was only 20 years old, but now he is 30, and he is astonished to know she still remembers him. With this, Han Juwei learns that the system also has a character activity record system. It may come in handy sometime later in future. He ignores all the mysteries for now and decides to cultivate Fire Chi for now. A calling bell is heard. It appears that the master has summoned all of her disciples. Han Juwei comes across his older sister. She trips over and falls on the grass when Han Juwei tells her that he has reached the Foundation Establishment realm. She is amazed, and all Han Juwei has to say is that he just got lucky. After cultivating for so much time, Chang was only able to reach the 2nd level, and from his aura she suspects Han Juwei to be at least at the 3rd stage of Foundation Establishment. She fears leaving behind. The system pops up, telling Han Juwei that Chang's favorability to him has decreased by 0.5 stars. On their way to meet their master, Chang tells Han Juwei that the bell usually rings only once and has not rung in so many years. Therefore, she never got a chance to mention it to him. As they reach the gathering, they hear people murmuring something about infiltrations. It appears their sect has been infiltrated by the viridescent nether cult, the same fiendish cult from which Xinghong Shuan was running. Just as the crowd catches a glimpse of Han Juwei, it starts staring at him. Not even girls, even the men are jealous of his astonishing looks. They all are confused as to why they never got to see him before, even though they are fellow disciples of the same peak. With this much attention, Han Juwei fears that they might end up breaking the oath of not having relationships. While everyone is head over heels in love with Han Juwei, Liu Sanxin comes forward and introduces himself to Han Juwei. He tells Han Juwei that he is the chief disciple of the Jade Serene Peak. Chief disciple looks like a total freak to me. He informs Han Juwei that he is responsible for organizing all of the affairs of the peak on behalf of the master, and that Han Juwei can contact him if he wants to discuss any matters in the future. The master shows up and silences everyone by asking them to take their seats. She tells them that the last 3 peaks are directed to send their disciples to fight off the infiltrators from the viridescent nether cult. Therefore, as a countermeasure, the sect master has decided to go with a counterattack. Han Juwei looks at the expressions of everyone around him. They all look pretty calm, with no signs of fear. The master adds that she wants all of them to pay more attention and contribute to the sect. Liu Sanxin stands up and assures the master that they may be low profile, but will contribute more than anyone else. He further requests her to choose him for this program, as he is one of the senior-most disciples. Against all of their expectations, Fairy Shi decides to choose Han Juwei for the mission. She declares that he has reached the 3rd level of Foundation establishment in no time, and it seems to her as if he is a genius. So, much for keeping a low profile. Everyone is confused as to why the master has not chosen their senior brother Liu. Some are of the point that Liu deserves to go, whereas others propose that if the master handpicked a man, she must have given it a proper thought. Han Juwei raises his hand and explains to Fairy Shi that although he is thankful, as master has appreciated his efforts, he must refuse because he can only join the peak to cultivate quietly. He also states that this opportunity demands a senior brother or sister, and he being a junior should not be considered for it. Han Juwei quickly came up with this idea because he thought that the master might have suspected him to be a spy of the nether cult. By refusing, he could easily avoid being entangled in any sort of mess. Fairy Shi asks Han Juwei to reconsider, then passes on the mission to Liu Sanxin, who is the senior disciple of her sect. Liu Sanxin bursts into tears filled with joy and quickly accepts the responsibility of the mission. His favorability towards Han Juwei increases by a star, and Han Juwei wishes him good luck. Liu appreciates Chang for taking good care of Han Juwei and takes his leave. While leaving, he gives a creepy look to Han Juwei, praising his talent for making everyone fall for him. Chang asks Han Juwei if he has taken any mission of the sect yet, and offers him guidance on the topic. Han Juwei inquires if he can avoid taking any mission. She explains that it may not be compulsory for anyone to complete the sect missions, but by doing so, he will be able to obtain greater cultivation resources that may help him cultivate way faster. Han Juwei says that Chan does not need to trouble herself, as he already has enough spirit stones to cultivate in seclusion for a very long time. She insists, saying that he can collect contribution points, which can be exchanged for pills. Han Juwei says that he is afraid of death and therefore is not willing to take on the challenge, but she mocks how one can be afraid of death and a cultivator at the same time. Han Juwei replies that if he were not afraid of death, why would he cultivate? She sees the point in Han Juwei's words. By cultivating, he can increase his lifespan, and then he will not be afraid of dying soon. Hearing their talk, Fairy Shi Shuan thinks that Han Juwei may not be a spy from the fiendish cult after all, and that she has suspected him for nothing. To her, he seems like a rogue cultivator with superior talent and a shortage of resources, but she still wishes to keep an eye on him for a bit longer. 10 years pass by, and Han Juwei returns to the Thunder Spiritual Pool. The tree spirit scolds him and asks for an explanation as to why he is still at the 3rd level of the Foundation Establishment realm, even though so many years have passed. He tries to avoid him and replies that cultivation is not something that can be explained easily. It is difficult to have a grasp on it. The tree spirit was saying this because it was oblivious to the whole story. What it sees is that Han Juwei is in the 3rd level of Thunder Spiritual Qi, and what it fails to see is that he has spent 400 superior grade spiritual stones and cultivated all other spiritual Qi. to the 5th level of foundation establishment. Moreover, he also uses suppression to hide his true potential, as he wishes to keep a relatively low profile. Now, Han Jue wants to use the least amount of stones and cultivate the Thunder Chi to peak level as soon as possible. Mo Fuchu approaches and greets Han Jue. He has brought a little sister along from his clan. Her name is Mo Zhu, and has told all about Han Jue to his sister. Han Jue asks them to excuse him, as he wants to start cultivating, and advises them to keep a distance from him if they too wish to cultivate near him. Mo Zhu is disappointed that the person his brother has been praising all this time seems to be all talk, as he has seemingly made no progress all this time. She self-praises herself, as she, unlike Han Jue, has broken through 2 levels in these 10 years. Ignoring her chit-chat, Han Jue begins his cultivation and starts sucking in all the Thunder Chi around it. Mo Fuchu is surprised because not even he can absorb at this tremendous rate. Knowing that he is already at the 9th level of the Foundation Establishment realm, he suspects that Han Jue might be hiding something. Mo Zhu inquires about the technique Han Jue is using. She now also is confused about how Han Jue is still at the 3rd level. Mo Fuchu now realizes that Han Jue has some sort of method to suppress his cultivation level, and is afraid that Han Jue has caught up to him in no time. Seriously, 10 years is no time? Sounds like a lifetime. Here I am, 20 years older, and still struggling to master the art of boiling water without burning the pot. Maybe Intersect Life comes with a time-warping tea set. Both of them are impressed, and his system notification pops up telling Han Jue that his favorability with both Mo Zhu and Mo Fuchu is increased to 2 stars. And then the MC cultivates for another 8 years, just this time to return with a 9th level of Thunder cultivation potential. Han Jue thinks that now he will have to trouble his senior sister and ask her to open the teleportation array to send him back to the Intersect, because Han Jue wants to get his salary. Salary for sleeping? Now that's a fantasy. He wonders how many spirit stones he will be getting this time, as he has been away for such a long time now. Before he can leave, the spirit tree calls him, saying that he has an opportunity for him. Han Jue quickly inquires if it is dangerous. The spirit tree bluffs, saying that with great opportunity comes great risk, but before he knows, Han Jue leaves. The opportunity seems tempting to Han Jue, but his policy remains the same. Where there is risk, there shall be no Han Jue. While he waits in line to claim his salary, many girls fall in love with him, saying that they have never seen such handsomeness at this peak. One of them realizes that she has seen Han Jue before somewhere. Mo Zhu shows up, saying that she needs his help for something, and that it would be a great opportunity for him. Han Jue is frustrated from getting these many opportunities. She further adds that this is a huge opportunity that no one would want to miss out on. Han Jue feels uneasy and pushes her off him, asking her to behave herself. He apologizes that he has to go back and continue with his cultivation. She gets mad, thinking he has ignored him and that he will regret not listening to her. But before she knows it, Han Jue has disappeared into thin air. Han Jue escapes Mo Zhu and hopes she does not come after him. He hides himself by a wall corner and hears some girls talking about him, feeling sad that they did not get a chance to ask his name and his peak. They say that he looks more handsome than even some Mokuchi guy, who became famous for his good looks in the last Intersect competition. Hearing this, Han Jue gets petrified, as he was so occupied with cultivation that he forgot all about the Intersect competition. He thinks that the master won't let him off the hook for missing such a big event. He immediately rushes to her master to see how her mood is. She lets him and says she has an important matter she wants to talk with him about. Before she could say anything, he immediately apologizes for not being present in the competition, saying that he has been so busy cultivating. She forgives him, saying that he will get more opportunities for it, but asks why his level seems to be stuck at the 3rd level of Foundation Establishment. He knows that he cannot hide this from her master, so decides to reveal his true face. He informs her that he has reached the 9th level of Foundation Establishment, but hid this so that he might not drag much attention. Chang, sitting next to the master, is shocked and asks how he managed to break through this early. Fairy Shi Shuan commends him, saying that she wishes that all other disciples of the peak would be as hardworking as him, making their peak the strongest one. For cultivating in silence, he gets rewarded by the system with a moment technique manual. Just as he turns his face to his right, he notices someone beside him. It's the old geezer, Elder Iron. What is this guy doing all the way here? There is a moment of silence. Elder Iron and Han Juwe stare at each other and then shout each other names. They both never expected to see each other in the inner sect. It appears as if Elder Iron has recently qualified for the outer sect competition to reach the inner sect. Fairy Shi Shuan introduces the old geezer, asking Han Juwe to call him Junior Iron. Both of them frowning and full of dark aura emitting from them, face away from each other. The old geezer asks how Han Juwe became the disciple of the inner sect. He mutters, how can Han Juwe break through to the 9th level when he himself has barely reached the 1st? Moreover, he is confused as he does not recall Han Juwe having even a single spiritual root. Chang gives Iron a death stare with crimson bloody eyes, saying that he is not allowed to have any crook thoughts regarding his junior brother Han Juwe, who is a well-reputed disciple of the Peak. He apologizes to Chang, saying that he has learned his lesson and has failed to catch up with the mysteriousness of the world. Fairy Shi Shuan silences everyone and gets straight to business. She asks Han Juwe for a mission to guard the Jade Pure Sect's 10,000 demon realm, as he likes to cultivate so much. Chang elaborates on Han Juwe, who is confused with the name of the place. She explains that it is the place where the Jade Pure Sect keeps and raises their beasts. She requests Master Shi Shuan to allow her to accompany her junior brother Han Juwe. Fairy Shi Shuan turns her request down immediately, saying that there are incidents when the beasts go berserk and kill the disciples very brutally. This sends some chills down Han Juwe's spine. He breaks into a sweat, thinking that the master is not even holding back, trying to hide these horrifying stories. Seeing Han Juwe concerned for his life, Fairy Shi Shuan asks him not to worry, as all the peaks will send their disciples to guard the demon realm. She makes it tempting for Han Juwe to say that the place might be full of danger, yet is very concentrated with Chi spirit. As long as Han Juwe is careful, he can benefit from the place and cultivate at a faster pace. Han Juwe scowled like a grumpy cat, denied its daily sunbeam. Looks like zookeeper training was officially on the agenda, since he does not have any other option. He humbly accepts the mission and shows his gratitude. She asks him to leave and prepare for his departure, saying that someone will come and take him to the creepy place. After Han Juwe leaves, Fairy Shi Shuan says to the old geezer that she's not interested in his past, yet it is better for him to maintain a good relationship with him, as he will be the core disciple of the Peak soon enough. She assures him that Han Juwe will not bother scheming against him, so he better mind his own business too. Elder Iron, who now is Junior Iron, is amazed with his progress, saying that the kid truly deserves it. The scene shifts towards the 10,000 demon reel. It has been a year and a half since Han Juwe came here. He has been cultivating day after day, but only managed to cultivate Wen Qi to the 6th level, the same as the other 4. He is extremely bored and decides to play with the system a bit. He gets to know that the interpersonal relationship panel has been updated. There he knows that Mo Shu, who was offering him a good opportunity, has been attacked and fallen off a cliff. She is seriously injured. Han Juwe is happy that he did not accept the opportunity, as it was not worth it. He gets out to do an inspection, as his senior sister Chang advised him to inspect the place after a while to see if any monster is causing problems. There he notices a cute cat that does not look harmful at all. He ignores it, and just as he turns around, the beast shapeshifts into a tiger with a powerful purple aura and goes for a surprise attack. The creature lands a direct blow with its sharp nails. Han Juwe easily escaped the attack with illusionary magic. He is fortunate to have mastered the 7 illusionary steps, otherwise he would have been done for. Han Juwe fears the enemy is not simple, otherwise his forbidding spells would have been triggered. No ordinary creature has the ability to move in or out of Han Juwe's forbidding spells. He decides to be serious and take the beast head-on. He again uses his 7 illusionary movement techniques to not only increase his speed, but also confuse his enemy. This movement technique is a special one, as it creates one after image, and the 7th layer can even produce 7 after images, leaving no room for the enemy to avoid deception. He circles the beast and lands his absolute finger divine sword technique. It causes massive damage to the creature, but he survives the blow and runs off. Unfortunately for Han Juwe, only the main body can deal actual damage. If the clones could have dealt any damage, the creature would easily have been killed off. Han Juwe is happy that the cat did not have any other trick up its sleeve, but still is confused about the origin of it, as no ordinary cat would be able to bypass his barriers. He decides to report the situation to the elders, A discussion between elders is arranged for the incident. They think that it must be somehow related to the scoundrels, who intend to use the demon beasts to create havoc in the 10,000 demon realm. Some of the elders suspect the presence of a traitor among the higher-ups. Why else have they not succeeded in eliminating all the spies? It seems to be in their best interest to send more disciples to the demon realm. Old immortal Taoist Thunder, the master of the Thunder Peak, orders these two matters to be thoroughly investigated. He inquires his junior sister Fairy Shi Xuan, why has she not said anything on the matter? She replies that he is capable enough to decide on these matters on his own. Taoist Thunder suspects that she knows something about the reasons behind the genius nurturing program and where the core disciples went alongside their master. Fairy Shi tries to address his suspicions by saying that she has been cultivating for a very long time now and only knows the surface of these matters. Thunder Master creepily smiles and makes her believe that she would be the only one he would trust if there really was a traitor among their ranks. Fairy Shi nods her head, saying that why would he not, since they both are disciples of the same master. The meeting is adjourned with the decision that all of the 18 peak masters will send more disciples to the 10,000 demon realm for support. In the flicker of the eye, 2 years pass by. Han Juwei is sitting on a forbidden spell seal. According to him, these forbidden spells provide an excellent place for patrolling, cultivating, as well as resting. The reason is that even without ascending to the Golden Core realm, in these places he need not worry about enemies, even in the Golden Core realm. So far, he has succeeded in cultivating all the 5 spiritual roots to the 6th level. As Han Juwei is lost in daydreaming, a voice comes from behind, whether he is using the 10,000 demon realm as his training ground. Han Juwei reflexively replies for what else he will use it for, and why would he let such a good chance go to waste? After replying, he realizes that he has left his guard wide open. Han Juwei whirled around, jaw slack. Standing there, looking like a jolly green beanbag, was Li Qingzi. Li Qingzi has somehow penetrated his forbidding spell, without letting him even notice. Han Juwei gets concerned, as it is not possible, unless this Li Qingzi person is beyond the Golden Core realm. Li Qingzi tries to calm down Han Juwei, saying that he is a fellow disciple of the Jade Pure Sect, and Han Juwei does not need to fear him. Li Qingzi asks him why he appears to be at the 3rd level of Foundation Establishment, when his aura feels like that of the 9th level. Han Juwei gets nervous. One surprise after another, how did the old man see right through his cultivation? Li Qingzi continues with his train of questions. He inquires whether Han Juwei has come here voluntarily or has his master sent him. Han Juwei musters up some confidence and spits out that Fairy Shi Xuan has sent him. Li Qingzi annoys him by further questioning about any mission that his master might have given him. Han Juwei shows no interest, saying that there is no reason for him to tell him whether Fairy Shi has given him a mission or not. With a creepy smile, he calls Fairy Shi Xuan his junior sister, and says to Han Juwei that unknowingly he has gotten himself into trouble, and now he must follow him for the sake of his master. Han Juwei quickly opens up the system panel and learns that this creepy green-haired old guy is the sect master. What Han Juwei felt most unappealing was that he even adores his master. While Han Juwei is walking alongside him, he elaborates on the situation. It appears that the beasts are likely to go berserk, and they are all the subordinates of Tiger Heart White Dragon. The tiger has this time prepared for a full-fledged riot. He asks Han Juwei to tell him what exactly he has done to provoke the Tiger Heart White Dragon. Meanwhile, Han Juwei is lost in his own thoughts. Han Juwei imagines the old man with his master and is enraged by the idea of them being together, thinking that a fat old man like him does not deserve her at all. The sect master scolds Han Juwei for not paying attention when Han Juwei begins with his story that 2 years ago, he came up against a white cute cat, who became a tiger and attacked him out of nowhere. It appears the so-called cute cat was the demon lord Tiger Heart White Dragon all along. Sectmaster calls Han Juwei lucky for not dying, as it might be possible that the nether cult might have consumed its strength, making it weaker than its original strength. Han Juwei has Li Qingzi confused, as according to him, there would be no way for Han Juwei to outspeed such a monstrosity. Han Juwei says that it is normal for him to be this much faster. This further frustrates the Sectmaster, as according to him a demon lord is no joke. Even a Golden Realm guy would not be able to beat it. He changes the topic, saying that now their priority must be to deal with the beasts before they can go berserk, and to do so there is only one way, and that is to uplift the root cause. Han Jue inquires if dealing with means to kill the Demon King. The sect master responds that there is no way they are going to kill it, because who else would take charge of the beast if their lord is gone? Although they can try it, if Han Jue wants to compensate for it. Han Jue asks them how else they can deal with it if they cannot even kill it. Perhaps they could try offering it a lifetime supply of something. Catnip maybe? Like any other opportunity giveaways, this too was also pronounced an opportunity by the sect master. The sect master knows that if someone can escape the Demon King unscathed, he must have several tricks up his sleeve. Therefore, he politely asks Han Jue to go and tame the beast. With this, Han Jue runs off, saying that the sect master better look for someone else, as all Han Jue wants is not fame, but to cultivate peacefully. He tries to stop Han Jue, saying that you will set up a formation and a trap to help Han Jue bear the pressure. He even offers to reward him with an ultimate technique of the Jade Pure Sect. The system pops up two options for Han Jue. He can either do as the old sect master is saying and earn his reward, or reject it and continue to cultivate. By choosing the second option, he will be rewarded with the sword technique manual, but Li's favorability will decrease. All Han Jue can see is that the first option is to get hatred from the Demon King and attention from the Nether Cult. Both of these would threaten his low-profile status, so he simply bids the sect master goodbye. This enrages Master Li, who hits his feet on the ground asking himself why Fairy Shi Xuan took in a disciple like him. As the sect master is talking to himself, he takes a deep breath because he has already sensed the Demon King approaching him. They both engage in a fierce battle. The scene shifts to Chang, who along with a senior brother, has come to the demon realm to offer Han Jue a hand when she hears that the beasts have gone berserk.